Welcome to episode 30 of Go Low Like a Pro. Now, after last week's 2-club competition where I had to really know my club yardages, I've decided to come up here today to Sandy Lodge Golf Club in North London with my launch monitor and try and get a bit more accurate on what I'm hitting. So my plan is simple. I'm going to go through every club in my bag and I'm going to hit a full swing, a 3/4 swing and a half swing 10 or 15 times or so with each club to try and get an average of what my distances actually are.
Yards.
Now, just to explain how I'm doing this, basically the app is set up on my phone, so it should record everything that I'm doing, but just in case, I'm also writing it down, and that way I definitely have the right numbers. And so speaking about the right numbers, it seems like a good time to come away from the range and have a quick look at my yardages, or more specifically, my rough yardages. Now, before anybody tries to be funny, no, it's not my yardages out of the rough. It is what I think I hit my clubs at the moment. So this is all based on full swings, and here are the numbers that I kind of expect to hit when I'm playing these shots. So you can see the numbers there in the table. For example, while we're using the lob wedge at the moment, I tend to expect to hit my lob wedge about 60 yards with a full swing. However, I will say that all those numbers there are sort of give or take 10 yards or so. If we go back to the range, however, we are also hitting 3/4 shots. Now, if you have a look at some of these 3/4 shots, you might notice, especially if I pause the video at the top of the swing, that my 3/4 shot is in actual fact a full swing. So that's really good to know, and will be interesting when we look at the numbers shortly, but also when considering the consistency of the strikes. Now, I'm also doing some half swing shots with this club too, which again is going to be interesting when we look at all the data. Okay, so I've just finished with my lob wedge, 60-degree wedge. All I can say is that numbers are extremely inconsistent so far. I'll go into that a wee bit more once I've hit every other club, but makes for very interesting viewing. Okay, so I've changed my mind about that. Rather than do all the numbers at the end, I'm going to talk you through my maths using the lob wedge numbers as examples, and then I'll just give you all the results later for the other clubs. So remember, I currently expect to hit a 60-degree wedge about 60 yards with a full swing. Now, I had the launch monitor measuring my carry distance, and these are the results of the first 12 full swings. Now, you'll immediately notice the massive variance or lack of consistency in those numbers, as I did when I was at the range, so I came up with this idea. So that's another couple of clubs done, and I don't mind telling you, I'm absolutely knackered already. I've decided I'm hitting 12 shots, full, half and 3/4, and I'm going to remove the two that are most out with what the average would be, if that makes sense. So the two most extreme, whether I thinned one or duffed one or something, I'm going to take 2 out and then take an average of the remaining 10. That's my plan. Whew. Just 11 more clubs to go. So in practice, the total yardage of those 12 shots is 967 yards. Divided by 12 gives us the average, 80.6. We then remove the 2 shots furthest from that average, highlighted here in blue, and then total the remaining yardage, 789, and divide that by the remaining 10 shots to get a new average of 78.9 yards. Still significantly more than the 60 I was expecting. I should say quickly, a sample of 12 shots is no way enough to get accurate numbers, so I'll have to keep an eye on what results I'm getting both here at the range and on the course. Okay, we're only halfway through hitting my wedge now, my pitching wedge, so there's still a long way to go. I'm absolutely sweating. I'm hitting loads and loads of balls. Thankfully, most of them are good, but I'm supposed to tee off in about an hour. Not sure if I'm going to get through all this, and if I do, not sure I'm going to be able to swing a club by the time I'm playing. I feel like this is the 7 ages of the descent of man, as I'm going to be more and more bent over and crippled by the end of this. However, just finished my wedges now. As you can see, I'm sweating even more. It's a lot of work, this. General gist is I will probably only get through my irons if I'm lucky now today before tee off, unless I try and put that back. Yeah, TBC. So rather than continually show iron shots at the range sped up or edited right down to keep it snappy and give an indication of just how many shots I was hitting, I'm now showing one in slow motion to actually look at my form. It looks okay to me, but what do I know? Maybe I should send it to Jane and see what she says. I'm not going to get through all these. It doesn't help that my launch monitor's missing every couple of shots, so I'm hitting even more than I'm recording. I'm just about to start on my 8 iron. As you can see, I'm exhausted. Run down, I'm getting a cold. Bless me. Yeah, I might stop after my 8 iron, might stop after my 7 iron, but I certainly don't think I'm going all the way today. I'm done. I've got about 20 minutes before I'm meant to tee off. I need to go get something to eat, something to drink. It could be a mess. I got as far as my 8 iron. I haven't really looked at the numbers anymore because I'm just trying to be fast and hit the shots. I'll report back on them in the episode, obviously, and I'll have to have another day where I come up and do the rest of the bag. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the numbers then. I got through 6 clubs: lob wedge, sand wedge, attack wedge, pitching wedge, 9 iron and 8 iron. These were my expected yardages, and I used the same maths and system that I showed you earlier to come up with the average yardage for full, 3/4 and half swings. Now, although we've discovered that my full is actually an overswing and my 3/4 is actually a full swing, that's all relative to my understanding of those shots, so it doesn't really change anything. I will just say at this point though that the consistency of strike and yardage were much improved when not overswinging. So here are my averages from that session. One thing to notice is how on the whole my expected yardages are fairly accurate, ignoring my lob wedge data, which seems to be a bit of an anomaly across the board. Hitting my pitching wedge farther on average with a 3/4 swing than a full swing, and not getting the percentage drop off I'd expect on half swings are all worthy of note. But again, this is just an experiment, the first of many, and I'm taking the results with a pinch of salt. I've popped those numbers into a little graph here, and after giving you a second or two just to let you have a quick look, I'll then show you the full range in ascending order on the left, and on the right, the 10-yard increment cheat sheet. Now, I'll certainly attempt to remember all that and give it a try and see when I'm on the course. That's it for part 1 though. Come back in part 2 and see if I can survive my round of golf at Sandy after all that practice. Till then, be good, and if you can't, shout for.